Zone, sponsored by Muckleshoot Casino.
Well, the Seahawks are flying high this morning after Seattle's nail-biting win against the Denver Broncos. Seattle is now 1-0 in the post-Russell Wilson era. They're also leading the NFC West. Now, here to help break down the season opener, our New Day contributor Terry Hollimon and Seahawks beat writer Gregg Bell, the Tacoma News Tribune.
We get to follow that. Thanks a lot.
I mean,
I don't have a hat.
You don't have. I mean, you can borrow my hat, but now I got pom-poms. So, I mean, first and foremost, we got to talk about what you had predicted, that people were going to give an applause to Russell as he walked in the stadium.
Yes.
That did not happen.
It didn't pan out so well. Seattle proved to be a little bit more aggressive than I thought. They chose violence, and they booed the heck out of Russell Wilson, like mercilessly booed him.
Mercilessly booed him.
Goodness.
Greg was asking, could you hear it through the TV? Now, my antenna signal wasn't working so well, but could you hear it through the TV?
Well, I was in the stadium, and it's the first time in 8 years the press box was shaking quite a bit. And
really?
2014, the NFC title season, that was the last time that stadium was that loud, that sustained intensity for an entire game. And it started as soon as the fans entered. The fans are allowed in 2 hours before kickoff, Amity. That's when the booing started. When Wilson was still in sweat clothes in early pregame. The first 5 dudes in the place were booing him.
Yes!
Yeah, they took the competitive advantage and the challenge that Pete Carroll offered.
I love it.
Yeah, and the fact that the Seahawks kept the lead the entire year. Scored early, which is really important. A Geno Smith touchdown pass early. That allowed the fans' intensity to sustain, rather than just peak at the start and wane. Because they played from the front, I think that really, really helped the crowd keep it, and it helped the defense getting off the ball.
Do you think that the crowd and its negativity had an effect on Wilson?
Well, not so much Wilson as Seattle's pass rush getting to him.
Okay.
In Geno Smith, for instance, the first game as a Seahawk outside linebacker, because Denver had to go to a silent count, meaning instead of barking the signals ready, set, hut that people know, they had to do it on timing with no silent count that the offensive lineman had to wait for. So the Seattle defensive edge rushers had a jump on the snap because it wasn't voice-based, but it was timing-based.
Got it.
Once Nwosu got the timing down, he was able to get off the edge, break up 2 huge plays on the goal line run plays that the Broncos fumbled on. Denver ran 12 plays, Terry, from inside the 9-yard line with 0 points produced in the second half. And Geno Smith won the game for them in the second half. The offense, as great as Geno Smith was in the first half, 70 for 18, 2 touchdowns, 37 yards and no points in the second half. It's because of Geno Smith and the defense and the goal line stands that they won that game.
So good to hear. So, Terry, how do you think Geno did overall? We've been talking a lot about him going into the game.
Yeah, I think Geno did incredible. There was a lot of questions about Geno. Who's going to be the guy? Is it going to be Luck? Is it going to be Geno? And he won the starting position, and there's still some question marks. But he came out on fire. I think he was 12 or 13 at one point in the first half.
13 in a row.
Yep, and it was just an incredible performance for him. He managed his offense the way he was supposed to, got the ball to the guys that he was supposed to get the ball to in great windows. And in my opinion, it was a great performance, a day one performance for Geno.
Yeah. So many people have written off the Seahawks this year. How big of a win was this for us, and just how great was it for the fans?
It was a huge win because of Russell Wilson's return, and Pete Carroll's starting the program over, Amity. He's starting with a new quarterback. He's changing his defense from what he's run for 40 years. And they win the first game that Wilson comes back and play him, as if to say Carroll's program beats one particular player. At least on this night it was. But it was one game. They've got 17 of these to come, including at San Francisco on Sunday. If they don't perform in an NFC West game on Sunday, then it mitigates quite a bit of what happened last night. But they're the only team in the division to win the first game. The Seahawks are in first place.
That's what I was exactly going to say. I said not only was it a great first win, post-Russell Wilson era, I think you look at this team right now, we are 1-0. We're the only one in the conference that is 1-0. So to be at the top of the division after the disappointing season we had last year is a great place to start.
It's a great start. Seahawks have put a lot of focus lately into building the offensive line. We talked a little bit about defense and the tackling issues. How is this paying off on the offense?
First and foremost, I think we got a chance to see what the future looks like for this team moving forward, with those two rookie tackles, Cross and Lucas, both. And those are both very difficult positions to play in the National Football League. Some of the best athletes on the football field are coming at them on every single play. And I think they played well. Cross had a couple of missteps where, Geno got hit and sacked and pressured. But again, that's kind of to be expected day one. But I think if you see day one, these guys are ready to go.
And they're rookies.
And they're rookies.
First NFL, the third time in 50 years, guys, that the two rookie offensive linemen starting in week one. Abe Lucas is very quick for his size, a third-round pick from Archbishop Murphy High School in Everett, Mill Creek, Washington State. I'd throw that in for you.
Yeah, you love that.
I coached him.
He's very good on his feet for his size, as you must know, Terry. And that is very important against guys like Chubb and the outside pass rushers that Denver had last night. I think Austin Blythe is the key to the offensive line. They upgraded center. They finally addressed the center position, which they were flat negligent on for years.
Really?
Ever since they traded Max Unger back in 2015 for
7 years?
For Jimmy Graham. Ask Russell Wilson what problems have been at center for the last 7 years. They finally fixed center. They finally spent money on it. They brought in Austin Blythe, who started a Super Bowl for the Rams at the position. Blythe is a glue guy.
Okay.
He's not only good at what he does, he's a great communicator, gets everybody in the right protection calls. And then last night he runs 30 yards down the field on a Rashad Penny run to recover a fumble in the red zone.
Give that guy some spotlight. I love it. Yep. What was up with the ending?
Man, who knows? It was the big question of the year across the country.
Yeah.
You bring in Russell Wilson, you pay him $254 million to be put in this position at the end of the game to win games like he did here in Seattle, and then you take it out of his hands and put it in the leg of your kicker to kick a 64-yard kick. I was watching a game, Greg, where a bunch of people were like, "Oh, is he going to make it?" I was like, "No, he's not going to make it. A 64-yard kick, that's unheard of." But
no, he was kicking it from Federal Way. It would have been the second longest successful field goal in NFL history. The NFL started in 1920. Look, Russell Wilson, 4th and 5. The Seahawks were fearing that play.
Yeah.
He is a dangerous, still at age 33, is dangerous running or passing with the option of rolling out for 5 yards with the game on the line. They were surprised and relieved. Yeah. They couldn't believe that Denver was letting that time run. They had 3 timeouts. The 3rd and 11 play ended with 1:02 left. 62 seconds and 3 timeouts at the Seahawks 46 to gain 5 yards. They gained 5 yards there. Denver still has 2 timeouts and a new series of downs. And Shannon Woso told me after the game, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I thought they must not trust Russell Wilson in this situation.
That's interesting.
Which was the implication.
All right, really quickly, only have about 30 seconds left. We're going from Russell to the Niners next week. Biggest takeaways for next week's game?
Is Trey Lance going to be the starting quarterback that they think he's going to be in San Francisco? If he plays like he did, now it was in a monsoon in Chicago, and they only scored 10 points in losing, then if they play like that, then Seattle's going to win again if he plays like that again. But it's not going to be a monsoon in Santa Clara. Can Geno Smith do that again? Give them a lead on the road against probably a better defense in San Francisco overall, than especially attacking up front with Bosa and those guys. And then can the defense do again what they did in the red zone? The red zone situational, that's where games are won and lost.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I want to see if this team is for real. We saw what they did last week versus Russell Wilson and the Broncos. Are they for real? We're going to find out against 49ers.
Too good to be true? Maybe not. All right, thank you both so much for joining me. And today's Hawk Zone is brought to you by Muckleshoot Casino, so thanks to them too. By the way, heart-pounding action is coming to the Muckleshoot Casino Event Center with live MMA presented by Excite Fight. You're going to watch warriors ground and pound their way to glory this Friday, September 16th at 7 p.m. And you can get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com.